Hi, everyone. Like Jimmy mentioned, I'm Clarissa with FRAC, and I work on the summer and after-school meal programs there. And I'm going to spend just a few minutes talking about some of the best practices that we've seen on a national level around midsummer activities to keep momentum going. And Sayla and Ricky actually touched on most of the things I was going to talk about because they are experts. So I'll keep my presentation brief so we can get to questions and discussion. But the three things that I wanted to highlight that we see a lot of are events, awareness building and social media, and then family and participant engagement. All right, so we've heard from both Sayla and Ricky on this, but events are definitely one of the best ways to continue to draw children and families to sites. So I think planning an event can seem like a lot of work, and there's always the concern of doing a lot of planning and not having the participation you want. So something that we've seen work really well, and I know Sayla mentioned this, is just to find events and activities that are already happening in the middle of summer and then incorporating promotion of the meal programs into those. So for example, during the summer, we know there are a lot of fairs and festivals and neighborhood events. So those can be a great in to get the word out to families because you already have the captive audience and you don't really have to create something from the ground up, which really helps you maximize your efforts. Events can also be digital or through social media, which I know might be a bit intimidating for folks who aren't tech savvy, but they can be a pretty easy lift to get your message out, and I can go into that a little bit more in just a second. But one event that I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about are Blitz Events, which were actually created by a state anti-hunger group, End Hunger Connecticut. So these are a great way to help publicize sites that are new or maybe struggling to attract children. So basically what these are they are coordinated days of outreach and canvassing, and volunteers meet at a central location. You can give them maps and neighborhoods to canvass, and then they distribute information for a few hours. So what we've seen is this is a really great opportunity to engage elected officials around summer meals and help them, get out there in the community and say a few words and really get the energy up and make it more celebratory. And like I mentioned, it's a great way, like if you have a school program that runs a certain time during the summer and is wrapping up, it's a great way to get into that community and let them know, like, hey, this site is closing, but we know there are other community sites nearby. So End Hunger Connecticut actually made a really great toolkit for creating a Blitz event, which I linked there below, but definitely check that out if that's something that you are interested in organizing. All right, and then I wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about social media and awareness building, and I know Ricky and Sayla mentioned this, so I won't spend too much time. But the one thing that I want to mention, and something that we've seen a lot, is that just this idea of sharing pre-written social media messages. So making it as easy a lift as possible to get the word out has really been successful. So I'll share those in just a minute from a group in New Jersey. But one thing that we've seen too is this idea of social media days. So if social media is something that you're interested in diving into more, having one day during the summer, hopefully after 4th of July, because we know that is where participation dips a bit, to have all partners, all sites, all sponsors, the state agency, all push out the information. So this helps, amplify messages, but also might catch the eye of not only families, but new partners who might be able to be brought to the table to help you with your work. So I wanted to share, this is an example from New Jersey. So the advocates there, realizing that everybody is, strapped for time, have a lot of things on their plate, they created these sample social media messages that they send out, and you can adjust these during the summer. So, if it's the end of July and sites are shifting, or if things are changing, you can tailor these and send them out, and that way it's there, it's easy to kind of queue up, and it's not a heavy lift for anybody. So this is part of a toolkit from New Jersey, which I also linked at the end, and I know that they're more than happy to have people take these and share them and adjust them for your state, so feel free to do that. And I know USDA also has sample social media messages as well. All right, and then I think this is last. I want to talk about family engagement, and I know Ricky mentioned that it's important to make the sites fun, because if they're not fun, then you're not going to have children and families coming back throughout the summer. So we've heard about contests and giveaways. They're an easy way to keep the energy up around sites. And it's really great in a way to engage local businesses and organizations around donating for giveaways. I mean, they might not have the time to, get out there and canvas, but there are a lot of groups who are willing to give small prizes for summer meal sites. And then another neat idea that we've seen, and is similar to the passport mentioned earlier, is this, and it's on the screen here on the right side, is to do a punch card similar to what you would get at a coffee shop. So when kids attend 5 times, they get a little prize, which again can be something small like a fidget spinner. But this is taken from Oregon, and it's part of their marketing materials. And I think that they are also open to folks taking this and adapting it for your state. So outside of that, of course, partnering with farmers markets or food banks to do a produce drop and having kind of a mock farmers market is pretty fun. And then libraries, like was mentioned earlier, are a great partner for attaching to programs they already have, but then also working with them to do book giveaways and other activities like that. And last on this kind of idea of family engagement is this idea around surveying families. So obviously we want to make sure that kids are coming to the site, but we also want to know what's bringing them to the site, what is their favorite part of coming to the site, and what can be changed both for this summer and then for next summer as well. So surveying can be a really powerful tool to get that feedback and to help you shape your program. So it's easy and best to kind of keep this informal. I mean, nobody wants to fill out a huge questionnaire at sites. So, asking how did you get here this afternoon, what is your favorite activity, what is your favorite food, least favorite food. All of this information is really great just to have to see what's the most effective thing happening at your site. And if you are just kind of thinking about the meals that you're serving and interested in getting feedback on that, you can keep it as simple as that little taste test image that's on the screen. So I like this, and then have kids fill out for the meals that you're serving. So yeah, getting input and working with families, it gives them more ownership over the sites, makes them, knowing that you're taking into consideration their feedback is a great way to kind of keep them involved as well. So those are kind of the big things that I've seen, and I know Ricky and Sayla did a great job covering that, so I kept it brief, but I did want to share some of the resources that we have as well at FRAC. So we just released our summer nutrition report, which looks at participation on a state and national level, and you can find that on our website. We hold monthly Meals Matter calls on different topics around summer meals. And then I did also link those 3 resources. So New Jersey Summer Meals Toolkit, which has a lot of great advice for getting the word out, the Oregon punch cards for sites, and then an Oregon celebration tip presentation, which I have found some really great information in that as well. All right, and I think that's it for me. So I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Jimmy. And if anybody has any questions for me after the webinar, feel free to reach out.